and it's working, not should just work. How are you, everybody? Ray from Open Origin and Whiskey Wayfarers. John there, Gilly, Matt from SNWS, and two of the boys from Adam Brands, Simon locally joining us in his very loud shirt. Mr. McGorum, thank you for rocking up, and Dave, thanks for joining us tonight. What time is it over there, mate? Salute. There you go. He's
1 minute
still
past
going with
9. Exactly.
Perfect. Irish coffee then in late salute to Paddy's. Okay, so the lineup for tonight for everyone watching at home with your cold beers. Hopefully, you haven't drank everything yet. We'll be having Teagues. Oh, he's there on again. He's like Dickie Nee.
There's even like a real resemblance there.
Yeah. That hat's really doing him some favors, isn't it? That's great.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So the lineup for tonight, again, we don't have anyone from Out and Culture joining us. Unfortunately, they couldn't make it last minute, but we do thank them for the beers, which is the IPA, which is a Colt IPA, and their status quo. We're going to have the Colt IPA first and the status quo with the bourbons at the end. So, all as you please. So thanks again, guys, for supplying the beers to everybody. That's they're making some waves in the beer game, that's for sure. So the lineup tonight is a 21-year-old Irish, the 22-year-old single cask Bushmills, and then we're going to step into Bourbon County. I guess we can say that, county or country, with the 10-year-old that is going to be a consistent line with Adam Brands, and then obviously an 11-year-old single cask beaming from Kentucky that we've chosen for Wayfarers. So let's get into it. Simon, did you want to say anything before we kick into Dave and do what we've got to do?
No, just that I'm super excited to be having some new gear land on Australian shores. So, yeah, we've had a bit of a pause in supply, so it's fantastic to see some new juice here. So congratulations to the guys at Whiskey Wayfarers and Open Origin. I think they've picked an amazing whiskey with their single barrel 11-year-old bourbon we'll be trying a bit later, and I hope you guys all think the same.
And if you don't, shut your laptop. No, but it is delicious. I can't wait to. It's definitely got to be the last one on the show with the size of it compared to the rest. But I don't know. There's a lot of people out there, obviously, that have Wayfarers have got their full bottle. It'd be pretty fun to see how much is left in some of those full bottles. I got a photo from someone the other night. They're like, "Oh, is this how you're supposed to have it?" They were through like a good third of the bottle with a couple of old fashions the night it came. I was like, well, it's one every 3 months.
Yeah.
Drink it all on the first night.
Ray, just for a quick technical checkup, I just checked the Whiskey Wayfarers group. You're definitely live right now, aren't you?
Oh, it's live on the fan page, not the group. Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Cool.
Sorry, we could only go to one.
Do you think we're amateurs? Do you think this is our first rodeo? Like, come on.
Potentially.
The first part of that question could be answered very separately to the second part. So that's okay.
We don't have the full podcast studio set up like Bailey. That's the.
Oh my God, I'm not even in the office, mate. Come on. All right, sorry. I was just checking.
No, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, take it away, Simon or Dave.
Over to you, Dave,
or whoever.
Well, thanks for having me. Great. Yeah. What are we doing? Big Tiki Whiskey. We've been a bit quiet for, I guess, the last 18 months. I don't know if you knew. I'm sure you all knew, but Master of Malt was bought out by a big international many years ago, 5-6 years ago, and we grew rapidly and went global. And a couple of years ago, 18 months ago, they decided they'd had enough of us, didn't know what to do with us, and got rid of us. And the founder, the owner of the original founder of the company, who didn't really want to sell it in the first place, he was able to talk to AB InBev. Although he was here all the way through, the management team never left Atom Group. He wanted the company back, and he was allowed to buy it back. So he bought the company back. He's the sole director now, the sole founder, owner, and director of the company. After selling it all to AB InBev, we've got it back. He is the only man in charge now. And I say the last month we've really been sort of consolidating, finding our feet, and doing you know, the whiskey market went a bit mental as well, with all those cask investment cunts. And we sort of just stood back a little bit and been really, really careful about what we release. And obviously, we don't want to. Whiskey becomes so expensive, it became really difficult for us to actually put anything in a bottle and sell. But we did want to expand our core range, which we did last year with 3 new world whiskies, which was, we're going to have 2 of them this evening. The Irish 21-year-old, which we better get in your glass, with the Connemara Pony on it. 21 years old, so I've got 22 looking at me down here. Connemara Shamrock Green and the orange flash from the Irish flag. We've got an English rye as well, which I quite like. I love the label as well, with the English Longhorn cattle on it in Coleman's mustard yellow on the label. And then we've got the American white label bourbon, 10-year-old bourbon with a young bison on there with a sort of a little riff on the Jim Beam label there with the rosette on the 10, looking remarkably similar to the little rosette medal that Beam has on its label. And in the background, there's a little grey silhouette, which looks remarkably like a Beam label as well. But it's a herd of bison running through cornfields. And there's skittles, 10 pins, all scattering away, which is another little reference to that Beam label. But you're starting on this. I haven't got any beers. I've just got coffee. But whiskey and beer is actually, I like a bourbon or a whiskey and coffee in the morning when setting up for a whiskey show. But I'll join you. It's rude not to.
Very good.
Irish 21-year-old. We can't do anything to Irish whiskey in the UK. Our bottling plant is in Edinburgh, and we have some bottling facilities in Tunbridge as well at our home base. But most of our whiskey, all of our whiskey, I think, has been done in Scotland. However, we can bottle Irish whiskey here, but we can't blend it. We can't age it. So all of that sort of recipe stuff has to be done like it is in lots of different places, in labs, and then sent. It's probably done in Norway now. But we send a recipe out to our partners in Ireland for this. So this is a marriage of malts and grain whiskies. There's no pot still in this yet. I'd love to have some pot still in it. Matured in ex-rum barrel, so you should be able to get that sweet sort of tropical fruity notes on of the rum coming through. There's Oloroso and PX sherry. So that fruitiness of Pedrojinas and that nuttiness of Oloroso, and then lots of refill bourbon hoggies as usual. Naturally coloured, all bottled at 45.8, which is the old 80 proof, like all of our 70cl releases are, apart from the World Whiskey Blend these days.
How many barrels
with my coffee?
How many barrels in this 21-year-old, mate?
Well, we can't bottle more than about 1,000 bottles at a time. Just 1 minute. I think that first batch was less. 1,000 bottles at a time. I think that first batch was about 700 bottles. Just having a quick. Unless we put we might have got another batch to go. Oh, it's like I can't even open the spreadsheet at the moment. This video link is killing it. I think it was about 700 bottles that in the batch that we put together. 700 bottles.
Right.
Yeah, it's one of those things when Boutique says we do small batch, we mean it. So like it's interesting seeing what people label as small batch.
Yeah, I mean small batch to a big.
Looking forward to getting that with the bourbon, because that's one thing you could put on your bourbon, even though we all know doesn't matter that it's a small batch, but you can say it's a small batch because it's a small.
I mean, those words have lost all meaning, really.
Well, not to some.
Not to some.
Not to some, Matt.
So, sorry, Simon.
But yes, you're right. What does it actually mean?
Jim Beam small batch, like how many tens or hundreds of thousands of bottles of that per batch,
Well, depends where you get it from now, doesn't it?
That's right.
Just saying. What's the thoughts on the 21-year-old Irish, people?
That's lovely. It's a good morning dram. I think Dave's drinking it at the right time of day and where he is.
Yep.
It's a tropical breakfast dram, that one. It's lovely.
Well, generally after what was it? The last one we did with Sam, Simon. He didn't go to work. That's for sure. He stayed on for a while after as well. So, Dave, I don't know how your work day's going to go, but let's see.
We'll get my second wind. I've got a train to get down to London. Showtime always works, doesn't it? Showtime always comes back together. So it's a busy week last week. It was non-stop. Trade shows, customer visits, and then tastings in the evenings, late nights. Oh, it was good to get home on Friday, that's for sure, and get some proper food rather than that junk that you live on the road. I had to come home and get some rice and some chilies because there was just nothing hot outside.
Nothing to keep you warm, but the booze in your belly.
Booze, yeah. But I needed. I said, normally we have pizza on Friday when we get home. Pizza party on a Friday, and I said, no, I don't want pizza tonight. I want rice. I want something really hot, and it happened. This is lovely, isn't it? Is that what you said? Breakfast dram. This is perfect. Works.
It is pretty good. I did just finish a coffee as well, so
it's interesting.
So I definitely need to try it again.
Does coffee go better with the beer or the whiskey, John?
Well, I had a beer at the same time. I was tired, so I had a coffee at 8 p.m. So, it's a balancing act, but it is very good, especially with the coffee. But I also would like to try it again without the coffee.
Please never change, John. Please never change.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh,
awesome. Can you tell us anything else for the 21 year, or do we move to the 22, to the Bushmills? What do you reckon, Dave?
I can't tell you much. I mean, we can't divulge anything of where it's come from, but I mean, it's pretty simple to work out where it could have come from because there were only. I mean, this was bottled last year. It's a 21-year-old. That puts it in about 2013, 2014. There were only 5 distilleries making whiskey in 2014, as far as my notes I remember, which I wrote down. I was talking about them. Bushmills is obviously one of them. That was one of the oldest distilleries in Ireland that's operating. What else was there? New Middleton Distillery, 77, 76. Cooley, 87. Kilbeggan, 2007. And Dingle was operating in 2012. I think they did their first spirit run in December 2012. Although West Cork said they were around 2004, and I think most of that time they were making really small batch spirits in like 100-litre stills. So I can't really count them. Although they were founded ahead of Dingle, any whiskey that they were making at that period would have been on the kitchen table, sort of thing. So my guess, the grain is probably from New Middleton or Cooley because they did both, and the malt is probably from Bushmills. Yeah, that's it.
Are you really guessing?
There's no other.
Are you really
around at that?
Are you really guessing though?
Yeah, I am really guessing. I'm really guessing those. Yeah, there's only 2 grain distilleries operating at that time, so it's either or both. They make lots of distilleries, churn out lots of whiskies, and there's lots of spirits, so there's plenty of it around. There's very little water around of that age. That's what Irish whiskey over 20 years old is so expensive over here. To bottle this as a 21-year-old over here, it retails £100 a bottle, which is it's a lot of money for a lot of people, but in the grand scheme of things, a 21-year-old for £100 over here is cheap. And for an Irish whiskey, what's the closest thing around it would be the Jameson 18, which retails anywhere between 150 and 175 over here. I have seen the price drop recently, but it was over 180 a little while ago. It does come in a box,
selling?
which is really handy for the recycling.
It comes in a box.
Yeah.
Well, that box
What are you going to
is
be
worth
selling this
£30.
for in Australia, Ray?
This is it's 250.
There you go.
250. AUD. Yep. It's pretty good, I think. What's your thoughts? Worth 250, gents and ladies out there?
Very good.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's also, what is it, John, tonight? 10% off? Yeah, it is. You use the code chapter 2, all in capitals, hence chapter 2, and you get 10%.
That's right.
The bottles we're tasting tonight. Obviously not the subscription Wayfarer one, but the other 3 you will. Yeah.
Is that tonight only? That code?
I think it was when we turn it off. I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, I'm just getting ready to turn it on, so you know.
Yeah, well, that'll help. Yeah, as per email. All right, well, let's move on to the Bushmills 22-year-old, and the label, which took a lot of work in getting here.
It took some doing. Yeah, I think we originally were planning to have this whole range ready at the start of December. Sam had an idea for the label, which means we only ended up bottling at end of January. So it's got here very, very quickly. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and I really love this whiskey. I did taste it while I was sampling up for you lot, but it is delicious. But also single cast, 22-year-old Bushmills. Pretty cool.
I'm always disappointed your sample bottles seem a lot bigger than mine, Ray. Just saying.
Yeah, well, it might be bigger.
Yeah.
We didn't.
There's enough in there for sure for a dram. So Dave,
Don't from Bushmills.
I thought I was allowed to. No.
Well, we did put it on the label.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on the label.
Isn't it on the label?
Yeah, I think
Like,
of that, the original 20. Listen, I'm messing with you. Yeah, original 21-year-old.
Okay,
I think we've only bottled 2 batches.
Did you just give something
1,000
away, Dave?
bottles. That's what we've done so far.
All right. There you go. So for all those listening, and as this is recorded, I think Dave may have given us something away. So we're talking about the 20-year-old single cast now. And there we go.
that is a beautiful label. It's sort of a bit too over the top, but
It's pretty psychedelic.
and so what you're saying is maybe Bushmills 22 and
Well, the
a couple
original.
of bags of mushrooms.
Yes, exactly that, John. The original, yep.
The original Irish label is the single malt Irish number 1 was the My Lovely Horse label, which Simon's proudly wearing on his T-shirt. It was taken directly from an episode of a Channel 4 comedy called Father Ted, and there's an episode you can Google. I mean, Father Ted, I didn't know anything about it. It happened while I was out in the Far East, so it was a Channel 4 comedy sitcom about 4 priests living in a house on an island. It's hysterical. It really is funny, and there's an episode on it called Song for Europe or Eurovision Song Contest. You can Google it. My Lovely Horse. It'll come up. Divine Comedy sang the song. It is about them dreaming were in the Eurovision Song Contest and singing about My Lovely Horse, and then the saxophone solo comes and it goes really psychedelic, and the horse's head is surrounded by those rainbows, and that was our first Irish single malt number 1. The first bottling we ever did was a 24-year-old, and it sold out really, really quickly. And we've done some 14s and 13-year-olds afterwards, and they're just great. But we weren't allowed to name it as a Bushmills, and the beauty when we didn't even need to name it this time, but we did to see what would happen, because there were only 390 bottles on the label. Yeah, so being an independent bottler, sometimes we can name the distilleries. Most of the time we can name the distilleries. Sometimes we're not allowed to name the distilleries. So if Diageo says, here's some Mortlach, boys, but you can't name it Mortlach, we'll just call it Speyside number 9, and we'll put our Mortlach label on it. So everybody knows it's a Mortlach straight away, because you just look at it and you just, oh, that's a Mortlach label. Or we just call it Speyside number 8 or Speyside number 9. I can't remember what it is. Yeah, we. I mean, look at the color of this. It's pretty damn dark. Ex wine cask, Maury wine cask. Yeah, we did have a few problems with these labels. You see, the back label doesn't match all the others. These are all machine done. They put the labels in the rolls, put them through the bottling machine, and it does it all automatically. These shiny ones that we had this idea to do a psychedelic shiny label. We just really wanted it to pop, and they've done a great job, but we had an awful dual machine and everyone had to be hand done. So a bit of pain in the ass, and I don't think we'll be allowed to do shinies again. So yes,
But isn't that what we talked about earlier? Isn't it just
We probably won't be allowed to bottle the Bushmills again anyway after this. So there we go.
No.
That's really just
No,
what
we
makes
haven't,
it
like-
a small batch we were talking about earlier. Let's be honest. Hand labeling. If you're not hand labeling, you're not small batch.
No one cares about small batch. We've been through that today.
Yeah.
That's the census.
Ultra small batch.
Yeah, how's the beer going with the two Irish guys?
Lovely.
How's it pairing?
I'm sorry you don't have any beer to pair with your whiskies, Dave.
Well, that's one thing I love about mountain culture. I don't mind a hoppy beer, but like a really not tannic. What's the right word? But just sometimes hops just hit you in the face, and I'm not big on that with mountain culture. They are hoppy, but they've still got a creaminess to them that holds it back, so it's not overshadowing the beer for me. It's quite good.
Yeah, I've the mountain culture. I've been spending a lot more time up there. Reasons is the mountain culture, and yeah, the beer definitely. They're a different beast to some of the hoppy Tasmanian brews getting around for sure.
Yeah, and it's not like starting with a few whiskeys and a 6.2 ABV beer is it's a good kickstart. Let's get this show on the road. Yeah, can you tell us anything about the cask, Dave? It was big, round, made of wood.
We can't hear you, Dave.
It was me.
Playing trick.
It was me. It's me who muted myself because I was just shuffling some stuff around on my desk. The original whiskey was laid down in October 2002, and in January 2023, it was re-racked into an ex-Maori wine cask for an extended period of finishing. I think that's a sweet. Is it a sweet dessert wine?
It is, yeah.
What does that mean?
I don't know much about wine apart from its red wine.
Extra matured since 23, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's been in the wine.
Did you say re-racked in 2023, Dave?
Yeah, January 23. And we got around October last year, didn't we? It was well over a year, nearly 2 years in the wine cask.
Yeah.
You're right. Well, it's very easy to drink, I got to tell you.
It is. Both of these have been fairly light and quite sessionable.
Great breakfast drams.
Every dram.
If you so choose.
It's really chocolatey.
Yeah.
Dry prunes sort of thing. I think it's an odd thing to go prunes and chocolate.
What's
I
everybody's
just had
peak
some
count of
prunes
these
in
two?
my porridge along with whiskey, but very chocolatey.
Yeah, it tastes a lot like coffee and dark beer.
I enjoy them both. As I was saying to Simon, the other night when we were trying some whiskies or 20. That I don't go for much Irish whiskey a lot because it's always good, and there's lots of good whiskey, and a lot of the bottlings you get are all 40%. So it's not, they don't, it's very well triple distilled as made whiskey. It's great and good. But I usually look for something with a little bit more personality. So the Bushmills 22 for me is definitely got that. It's super light on the palate, 45.8. I mean, you could have it by the schooner. I won't, but you could. It'd be an expensive schooner. But no, I really enjoy it. The 21-year-old as well. It's that classic Irish again, though. But I love the almost creme brulee vanilla that popped out of it for me. But yeah, 22 would be my pick. What about the rest of you lads?
Yeah, the 22 over the 21 for me, easily. That 22, that Bushmill was lovely.
Yeah. I mean, apart from the rarity of the 22, like trying to get a single cask Bushmills, you just can't do, let alone from an IB. It just doesn't happen. It's very rare to see. It doesn't mean there haven't been some great IB Bushmills, but to have it named is something you very rarely see.
Yeah.
The rarity aside, it's for me, it's a far more complex dram. The 21's delicious, and for a 21-year-old Irish, I'd happily part with that money. But yeah, that Bushmills for me is a step up.
Banana lollies, says Jimmy.
Yeah,
I mean that point, Simon. We had a bunch of old Bushmills casks, but we had no naming rights on them. Like it was, it's like we were able to call them. We called it. I think we just called them Irish malt whiskey or something. I can't remember. But yeah.
Yes. Well, we'll see how we go with this one if we get away with it.
As you said, first and last.
Since it's a single cask and we've got one, if we get a cease and desist, that's a risk we're willing to take in this case. But yeah, Bushmills generally don't like people naming their casks at all.
Yeah, right.
So we'll see how we go. See how that plays out.
I love the I love that approach. Just see how you go. See if you get a cease and desist. It's a very
shoot first, ask questions later. I do like that.
We call it ask forgiveness, not permission.
That's right. I mean, we famously did it with a bottling for April Fool's last year, Dave. The Dalrye milk. Not sure if anyone has seen that bottling.
The dairy.
So it was a dairy milk chocolate label, but it was called Dalrye milk. It was a grain whiskey we bottled, and the owners of the Cadbury brand very quickly sent us a cease and desist. Sales on Master of Malt went through the roof before we had to pull it down. We knew it was only going to be around for a good time, not a long time, but it was a really cool bottling. So look, we do occasionally push the envelope and be a little bit cheeky, I guess, when we can.
Yeah, they gave us a week for it. I mean, they were really lovely about it. They thought it was hilarious. and they basically said, how long do you need to get rid of them? And they gave us a week. So we just said, look, this is going to be gone very quickly. And we were selling it as a 16-year-old North British distillery sits in Edinburgh. And it wasn't, we knew it would be a bit controversial. We like being a little bit controversial, but it wasn't in bad taste. And it was, if you read the back label, it was a love letter to Edinburgh, because it's where Sam, our head of whiskey, Dr. Whiskey, is where he came to do his doctorate in Edinburgh. It's where he fell in love with whiskey. It's where he fell in love with his wife. It's a whole new beginning for him. And every time he goes back to Edinburgh, and he's that Haymarket station where it is it is that Dalrye area where the end of the distillery sits, and he misses that smell, that old that smell of the grain whiskey you coming across there. And it was a little letter on the back. It was a little love letter to Edinburgh, and we just did a cask and a half instead of a glass and a half of it just looked like Cadbury's Dairy Malt label. It looked fantastic. We sold it for 36 quid. The first bottle that someone chucked up on the auction site when they knew it was going to be restricted went for 360 quid because someone definitely wanted that in their collection. So 10 times the value. I mean, one of our biggest supporters was a little whiskey pub in Edinburgh called the Athletic Arms, or Diggers, or the Grave Diggers as it used to be called. But it's called the Athletic Arms. It's a huge whiskey bar, great prices, lots of tastings, really lovely people. They bought lots of it because it's their local distillery, and they were telling anyone if you could buy it from the bar from them, and it had to be signed. So if they saw it going up for auction, you'd never get another drink out of them again, which I thought was really cool. They bought like 3 or 4 cases of the stuff and had it under the bar. They had it on the bar for pouring, but they also had it under the bar for selling. Yeah, they're one of our biggest supporters.
So,
Very.
We're going to move on to bourbon and status quo now. That's the status quo. We're going to start with a 10-year-old for everybody at home and everybody here. This is really cool. Also beaming from Kentucky, just as our 11-year-old single barrel is, which really looking forward to get into. But we're going to give away a bottle of this 10-year-old tonight. And look, we'll let Dave or Simon or the group vote. We'll, however. But best question, from the chat, whatever, or throw a selfie up with your chapter 2, whatever. What do you got there, Mark? Oh, your little one, cool. And yeah, so one of you people are going to get a bottle of this 10-year-old, which is pretty awesome because there's not that many 10-year-old bourbons age statement on the shelf in Oz. So pretty cool that we'll have this as a constant supply now. Looking forward to everyone's thoughts on it. I love it, but I do love lots of bourbon, so I'm quite biased. So let's pour this dram and get into it. I'd love to get your feedback and thoughts. And Dave, if you'd like to tell us how it came about, we'd love to hear that. I'll be pouring these ones a little bit.
This goes really well with this. This was a very, very small batch that we did. Only blended a few casks together at the time because it was a bit of a nightmare getting them in at the people we were working with. We've much better pipeline supply organised now, but this initial batch did take far too long coming together. Really down to the shipping and the logistics of the people in the States. Lots of yeah, and yeah, and nothing happens, which I don't know, it seems to be a trait sometimes. But it did come together, and I'm really happy with it. I tasted the original cask samples when they came in, and what we decided what to do. There was some. It's quite it's not a sweet bourbon. It's not a sweet and sugary bourbon like some. It's quite clay-like almost. If you think clay-like bourbon, it's not a big sweet. It's a really savoury bourbon. It's everything I want from a bourbon rather than a sweet, watery dram that some to get. This one was a very small batch. Yeah, we've only put. We've done 2 batches now. Yeah, we've done. Of course, we have. We've done about 1,200 bottles. The first one was less than 600.
There's that small batch thing again, Matt Bailey.
There you go.
You love small batch, mate.
That sounds like ultra small batch to me. That's pretty good. 600 is ultra small batch.
You know what it is? It's literally a small batch.
Literally a small batch. You can now use that wording. There you go. Well done.
Well, I mean,
Dave, I think our Glengarry was 200 bottles, 198.
He said Glengarry, then we just lost him. He got so excited by Glengarry. He's like, what? Just like he's vaporized.
I do believe we got these casks from a broker, so we didn't get them directly from Beam Suntory. They
No
were
one
from a
does.
broker.
No one does.
And
Yeah.
there we go. He's back. But yeah, I believe, as Dave was saying, it took quite a while to get these casks in. When we got them, and they were of varying quality as well. There's some that we weren't particularly happy with. The fill levels were much lower than what we'd been told to expect. There were all sorts of issues when it came to actually making the first batch of this. So on paper, it looked really good at first when we were looking to bottle this, and then it took a turn. But the end result, as you can see, ended up being really good.
Mm-hmm.
So we lost you there for a second, Dave.
He shouted Glengarry and then vanished, vaporized.
Yeah.
So excited by
I'm just going to.
Finally, some Scotch whiskey. He thought, "Oh, that's it."
Yeah.
I'm just going to turn a few things off. I'm just going to try and turn a few things off because I think
corn whiskey overload.
everything's connected. Everything's connected these days, isn't it? Yeah, when I tasted the car samples, they were all great. But they were different, but they were all great. There wasn't nothing wrong with the whiskey that came in. They're just the volume that we thought we were getting were a lot less moved. But that's the risk with moving casks. I mean, shipping casks. You know, every time you roll a cask around, you're moving it, which exposes old cask even more so. But when you look at the explosion of whiskey making in America, you know, the craft distillery, there's a lot of 10-year-old whiskey starting to come on the market at the moment, that's for sure, from lots of little distilleries. So all these distilleries that started up in 2013, 12, 15, they've all got these, you know, they were laying down casks, but there was hundreds and hundreds of distilleries that started in America. That craft explosion boom. I mean, we've just been following it in Canada, where there's a great book called Canadian Whiskey, the Portable Export. I think the second edition, there were 9 distilleries in Canada. And when I got the latest edition last year, like 340 distilleries. And you could see when you read in that book that the craft explosion in Canada was just about to happen. It was just on the edge when we first started doing those Canadian whiskey tastings way back. 2012, when I was still a little whiskey blogger. And you could see Canada was just about to follow America, and then England and Ireland have sort of followed since, and the rest of the world as well have followed since. You know, craft distilling all across, little distilleries everywhere. The amount of distilleries right across Europe now making whiskey. I think there's 50 distilleries in England alone. In 2014, I think there were 3. 2 opened in 2014.
And almost like
so
there
there
was still
2
3 today making good English whiskey, but you know, that's all right.
What was that,
There's
Matt?
some great new distilleries.
Nothing. There are some really good. I was just shitting on English whiskey for no reason. There is some good English whiskey being made. I had some fantastic stuff out of Wireworks last year. That was lovely. But there's
They're doing some cool shit. Yeah.
We do have a good question come through. I'm not sure who's going to field it. Not me.
Was Zach? That's a great question, Zach. From someone who's grown up with the majority of people looking down on bourbons. First, I'd like to know why you're looking down on bourbons, and then we'll have an arm wrestle about that. No, and opting for Scotch instead. It has been a very Scotch-forward whiskey path in Australia for quite a while. While bourbon started to tick over strongly, for 5-6 years ago, I would say fairly. I was into it much earlier than that. Which gained me a lot of great bottles in the early days, but it's a question at a bar whether it was a peated or a bourbon or whatever it was. When someone wanted to ask that question, the first question I would always ask is, "What do you typically drink?" And if someone was going for a peated whiskey, Simon's had enough. Let's close his camera. If it was a peated whiskey or something, I personally found something back in the day, which they don't make anymore. Dura Prophecy was a very good entry-level bourbon for, entry-level peated whiskey for people step into that. So something that it will come off the back of what they're going to ask. If they say, "Oh, I love a bourbon cask Scotch whiskey with, a lot of vanilla notes, this, that, the other," straight away I would go Buffalo Trace and something like that, and step up to Eagle Rare. And sometimes to get a gateway into bourbon, if they love something different than that, spicier or whatever, you start with a rye. But the only thing that I'll get sometimes is, I find bourbon too sweet. I like a single cask Glendronach at 58%. Full shift, you find bourbon too sweet. So having a single cask bourbon, which a lot of those drinkers haven't tried before, really changes their mind, because the sweetness is there, but the ABV there is there as well. So hopefully that's not too long of an answer, but basically it comes off the back of what somebody already drinks. And if you know what your bourbons are and what you like, it's easier to step them into it. I know some bartenders back in the day was like, "Oh, I want to try peated whiskey. I've heard a lot, never tried it before. Pretty much drink gin and tonics. Can I have something? Here's an Ardbeg 10 or a Lafroig 10. They're never, ever coming back to peated whiskey in their life.
I think it is a really interesting question, because there's a lot of sort of cultural there's a whole cultural thing to what someone means when they say whiskey. If you order a whiskey sour is an American cocktail. It's an American created drink. A whiskey sour should be made with a bourbon or a rye whiskey, if we're going to be historical about it. But if you order a whiskey sour in Australia, more often than not, you get Scotch whiskey.
Which is just
when we say the word whiskey, and I still encounter this all the time. You say whiskey, and people go, "Yeah, cool." They pour you a Scotch. They don't. You didn't find better bars, Simon. Bourbon's not a whiskey. There's still I'm saying if you're at the local pub. I'm not saying if you're at Whiskey and Almond or anywhere in Melbourne CBD. To be fair, but there's still this weird perception that whiskey it means Scotch in Australia, and it's weird that that's still around, because obviously we make fantastic whiskey here in Australia, and bourbon has always been a whiskey. It's not just become a whiskey. It's been a whiskey.
Simon, I'll just one little thing on that as well. I don't want to jump too hard into this, but on Zach's question. I think a lot of it also comes down to historical sort of product development as well. Yeah. I mean, if you look at how bourbon's been presented for a long time, especially in Australia, it's been through RTD, and it's been seen as sort of like inferior, because that's the sort of the junky cans, the sort of the junk sort of product that is not for sipping or for enjoyment or for those who have upgraded in their journey. And I think that's a bit unfair. And I don't think it's the result of anything any of us has done. Of course, I think it's more of it's one of those things where it's like that's how the product's been marketed, and especially in Australia. I mean, the RTD market here is quite unique in compared to other markets. But look, it's
lazy man's cocktail. But I agree with that too. But also a lot of people, like back in the day when you're drinking Scotch, I'll have a whiskey, I'll have a Scotch, this, that, the other. It's not even that old now, Matt. You would know it better than me, but you would get a Scotch and predominantly always a bourbon cask. Always a bourbon cask. And a lot of people don't actually know that Scotch is aged in a bourbon cask generally first. Virgin oak is not very found at all. So,
up until more recently, in the last sort of 10 years, when there's a lot more sherry cask maturation happening because it commands a slightly higher price, and that's exactly. a whole economic argument there. But exactly.
But also that's what it's rested in first. And Simon, you're saying before, bourbon's not a new whiskey. It's been a whiskey for a very long time, and that should suggest it. And I'm not saying Scotch is watered down bourbon, because it's not. No, but you're grabbing a lot of those.
Other way around, mate. Other way around.
Yeah, exactly.
Bourbon is inferior to Scotch. We know that. It's fine.
That's
fine.
right. Yeah. I
saw that. Just that.
We'll talk about that nickel. No, but no. All piss take aside, it's a lot of the mineral notes and everything are coming from that, and yes, the barrel, but it's also, like I said, it's not common knowledge. It's aged in barrels, and they go, and then it's aged in sherry. But no, it might be Palo Cotado. It might be like.
But, I mean, I think that the safe thing to say is that, with the rare exception, all Scotch whiskey has a drop of bourbon in it.
Yeah, teaspoon bourbon.
Which Scotch whiskey drinkers don't like.
Oh,
To
yeah,
He's gone on Muppet.
I remember being told years and years ago, long before I got into whiskey, like bourbon's okay, but it's not as strong as Scotch, you know. And I remember that sticking in my head. It's just stuck in my head forever since I was a teenager. But if you just delve into the history of American whiskey, it's fascinating how American whiskey grew because of the British, really. How it started off with rye that was taken over from the Europeans, and bourbon really didn't take prohibition. If you even look at the output of American distilleries pre 1900, rye was just ahead in terms of output of all, and there were thousands of distilleries making rye whiskey back in those days. And the only reason why bourbon took over after Prohibition was because all those little tiny farm distilleries of New England were tiny little farm distilleries, and that sold off for scrap, or the stills went to Canada to make whiskey. And after Prohibition, the government sort of sent farm subsidies down into Kentucky. The railroads were in Kentucky. There's 10 licenses granted during Prohibition to make whiskey. Only six were taken up. And 5 of them were in Kentucky. So, that's why Kentucky took over and the spirit of America in 1964, I think it was, 1964. May, I can't remember, May the 11th. Like, seems to stick in my head, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, that was when bourbon became the official spirit of America. It can be made right across America. You can't make bourbon anywhere else. You make bourbon style bourbon anywhere else. I mean, someone tried to make it. I think someone tried to make it in Canada, didn't they, recently? They tried calling it a bourbon, and it was sort of.
And you can't make Scotch, Japanese Scotch whiskey.
Well, yeah, that's only until recently. There was a lot of Japanese Scotch whiskey in Canada.
No, but I mean, they actually had on the label Japanese Scotch whiskey. Had to change that.
They have changed it. It's a fairly recent occurrence. Yeah.
But yeah. Anywho, shall we move on to chapter 2?
I think so.
Before we do,
Before we do, just
how good is this status quo? Sorry, Simon. How good is the status quo? I love it.
So good.
I hope everybody's cracked into it. I haven't really been pairing anything. I've just been having this beer, having the bourbon. But
loving all the comments and all the chat coming through too. But yeah, say again, John.
The status quo from Mountain Culture is one of my favourites. And at the bar, they also do a status quattro, which is also very.
What's the other one that they can that's the high ABV as well? Is that status quattro as well, or is it? There's a higher ABV status quo.
Yeah, that's what I just said, mate.
Yeah, it's delicious.
Yeah, it's very good.
You can only drink 10 though.
Well, yeah, if you're driving, otherwise you can push it to like 20 or 30. We have to edit this before it goes on YouTube, right? Like
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's definitely not live right now.
100%.
We're definitely not live. It's fine.
All right. So, chapter 2. So many fun stories about getting this.
I'm a Wayfarer, so I have a bottle.
Who's not a Wayfarer out there? Hey? Who's not a Wayfarer on this channel?
Dave doesn't have a bottle. As I said, he's tasted all the casks as they came in, but he's not had this finished.
In fairness, Dave, I find it very hard to get here.
Where's your bottle, Teague?
He's hunting.
There's Dickie Nee.
Don't feel sorry for me. I've got a full near me. I think I've got some of that. I'm sure I've got some of that 24-year-old Heaven Hill back here.
Oh, ouch. And mic drop.
Yeah, that was a very cool boutique bottling we had. It was the label, if I remember correctly, was an Area 51 style label. So it was a cornfield with crop circles in it, and then all the different characters that were on the label were different conspiracy theories. So there was like an alien popping out and all sorts of stuff. There was people trying to guess where this 24-year-old bourbon was that we had, and I was lucky enough to taste it. It was incredible. But the leading theory, Dave, was Heaven Hill, wasn't it?
No, it was. It was pre-fire. Heaven Hill. It's 94 Heaven Hill, just before the big fire, so it got lost. I think it might have been insurance write-off. Because
we should have kept some of this for you, for Ray. I'm sorry we didn't keep any of this.
You should have, because you're not rolling around 24-year-old bourbon very easily.
Anyway. Seriously, we did not want to bottle it all, but we bottled it all. I saw a couple of bottles come back recently on Master of Malt, but
don't give it to them.
Yeah, we didn't want to bottle it to keep it.
I mean, don't give it to yourself. Anyway, so where do we start? Stories on this, Simon. Simon told me when this was coming, or not this. Simon told me when this all this liquid was beaming from Kentucky. I love saying that. And straight away, what do you reckon I said? I want a single barrel. I want it. I want to try it. Can we get some samples over? Can we? And I asked that more than once. But immediately he knew I was serious. So we ended up getting some samples, and they got sent over. And when they arrived, I was heartbroken. The case smelled amazing, but when I opened the package, and this is the first time it's ever happened because Adam always sends them nicely wrapped, the whole thing, they never break. Only time it's ever broken. And I got 3 of the 4. The fourth one was smashed. I was like, these are all really good, which we tried at the event, the Weller event not so long ago. These are all really, really good. It's easy to pick one, but I still want to try that 4th one because it smells amazing. Anyway, they sent them over again, and I tried them, and I was like, so glad I waited. I'm going to pick that one. That was the 4th one that I picked. And then I thought, well, we're doing this Weller retreat, and we've got a whole heap of tastings and food lined up and pairings lined up. Can we get 3 75ml bottles of each barrel, which I've still got remnants left over of? And Simon goes, yeah, well, let's see if we can figure that out. So they sent them, and because of the heat of wherever they were sitting, all the bottles popped and all the liquid leaked out of these 375ml bottles, except for the barrel that I picked, which had that much left. I was like, all right, well, that's a little sign. Then they resent them, and we popped them at the Weller event. We had a Kentucky lunch, and everyone got to try all 4 barrels that was there, which is really cool. And still, I'm still right. I don't care what anyone says.
I think so. And look, I think if someone did select one of those other single casks, they'd probably get about 6 bottles out of the barrel. And samples we've sent to Ray that have gone awry.
And they're in the heat for 30. They're in 35-degree heat for 6 hours. So
yeah, that was the problem. We sent these samples, I think, during the middle of the heat wave, so it was not ideal. And yeah, they all popped. And then we're outside at this Weller event, about to do the tasting of these boutique samples and try the barrel pick for whiskey Wayfarers. Ray decided to put these bottles next to the barbecue in the sun. So the bottles just started popping again. I said, Ray, we're not repeating this. So quickly got them into an esky to chill them down a bit before we poured them. So
yeah,
could have been a disaster.
That was a great day. But no, I'd love to get everyone's opinion on have we got some coming through already on the 11 year. And even on the chat, Gilly, what do you think of the 11-year-old? You're muted.
Yeah, well, I was saying, like, I like the 10, and I think that's a good introduction for whiskey lovers. That's what I would have done. But the 11, that's like different level. Just like the nose, the palate, everything is quite like we did a good job. So
it's just a 10 dialed up, right?
Yeah. Just like the burn, toasted. That's perfect. Right up my alley.
Beautiful. Love it.
I was going to say, you popped up a comment there from Travis. There was some good tasty notes from Travis on the chat.
I think he's replying to Michael's comment, is he? Did Michael have a comment previously?
Yeah, no, it's all right. It's all right, Ray. We're on it. The comments are. Travis's tasting notes popped up. Cherry cola for sure.
I mean, we haven't heard much from Matt Teague this tasting.
Oh yeah, that's a good shout because he loves bourbon.
What are your thoughts on this single barrel bourbon?
I'm glad you asked him because he messaged me and said something quite nice. I thought.
Oh.
So.
Oh.
How come that's not on the comments section?
Our bourbon skeptic on the tasting.
Yeah, let's go, Mr. T.
Sorry, I'm just looking for the nice message John's talking about.
Well, it might be a nude picture. We don't know.
Well, Mark, you said that the 11 was superior to the 10.
Definitely, yeah. It drinks very well despite the ABV, which is good. But I'm, unashamedly not a big whiskey spelt with an E fan, and I do find with most bourbons, not all, quite a corny synthetic note. And if you just try the 10-year-old versus the 11-year-old side by side, you get that note much more on the 10-year-old than you do on the 11.
Yep.
And I think in the chat with John, he said, that part of the ABV is obviously hiding that. It's richer. It's carrying more of the, the oaky flavour profiles rather than the corny spirit, I guess, across the palate. But yeah, certainly it would be the 11 for me personally, for sure.
I get that out of Beam Spirit though. I mean, that's something I get out of Beam as well. Like that's just one of those spirits where I do get that sort of almost synthetic corn note, and sometimes it can be really quite desirable. I've had that like you taste that in some of like old Booker's bottles of Booker's and Little No and stuff like that, where they have that sort of almost like sugar glazed corn or plasticated corn sort of thing going on. Which is very different from turkey, or very different from wild turkey, or very different from Heaven Hill, or all those.
It's sort of funny you say that, Bailey, because we don't actually know where this is from. So it's interesting that you reference Beam in that particular tasting note.
Fascinating, John. Fascinating.
I mean, I grew up with 37% Jim Beam White that was bottled in Australia, and the
good stuff. The good stuff.
The best ever bourbon I had was the first batch release of Booker Nose. That was my first experience of a really good bourbon. Happened to walk into a Launceston bottle shop and they had one there on taste. So that was amazing. But yeah, obviously my palate training on bourbon on the lead up to that was not optimal compared to my Scotch.
It's either that or Jack Daniels. Jack Daniels 1907, the 37% version of Jack, which was the Aussie version of. Yeah, the Aussie version of White Label, or the White Label Jack. Yes.
Yep. That was first pour in bars. That was
Interestingly, they'd banned Jack Daniels from the Irish movies in Launceston because they thought it had hallucinogenic properties.
Is that the most Launceston story I've ever heard?
That was the excuse they gave.
Well,
I believe it was just an effort to keep the biker gangs out of the pub.
When was this? This is an amazing bit of local.
The mid-90s. My formative years.
God, I love Launceston. I honestly love Launceston. There's so many stories like that. Nothing makes sense. Nothing.
Absolutely absurd. Absolutely absurd.
Love it. Nothing makes sense. On that as well, on the anything beaming from Kentucky, because we're not allowed to say what it is, are we, John? But I get what you're saying, but more for me, I get like peanuts, shell when you break them.
Yes.
The shell on the outside, or almost pencil shaving. I get that from
this takes me back to Shady Pines Saloon, 100%, straight away. Like sitting at the bar cracking peanuts, absolutely. And because for ages their house shot was, I think it was Jim Beam Rye when that first came out. So, obviously,
not that matters on the product.
Not that matters when it comes to when compared to this whiskey, it's got nothing to do with it. But that's definitely immediately that's a sensory sort of memory I get just from tasting these whiskeys.
You disparage Launceston, but we did have a Lone Star where you could crack peanuts and throw them on the floor.
No,
in
there
the
wasn't
90s,
disparaging
so-
Launceston. I wasn't disparaging Launceston. I was saying nothing makes sense in Launceston. It's like this weird Bermuda Triangle of a city. Let's be real. It's not even a city. Come on.
And I mean, we can't say where this is from, but we do know that it's a classic high corn mash bill. Is what we can tell you. I think you've included that already. So yeah, there is a high corn mash bill.
You can tell it's very high corn.
Is it right?
75%.
75.
I think that was pretty sure.
Big corn boy.
Big corn boy.
Big corn boy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think it drinks so well though for like nearly 62%.
Right. Who doesn't like it? Get out.
For a big whiskey, yeah, it's almost sessionable, not dangerously sessionable.
I think we do need to get you a bottle of this at some point, Dave. We just might have to actually bring you out to Australia for real.
We'll have to DHL it.
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea. People in the chat, people watching, what's the consensus between the 10 and the 11-year-old?
Are we waiting for the chat?
Are we waiting on chat?
To be honest, I got distracted. I think we're all, and there is a cute cat wandering around on the stream. So
Yes, there is. Good on Maujow.
I have to talk now, right? Because my cat's jumping in front of the camera. But I love that you guys brought up. No, don't get on the keyboard. I love that you guys brought up Shady Pines because Simon, I think it was the first time I realized I really loved Jim Beam Rye. And it went so perfectly. You'd sit there and you'd have your Coors Light on your left and you'd have your shot of Jim Beam Rye on your right. And there was just that awesome kind of gruff, herbaceous, peanut shelly kind of flavor that Ray was talking about. And it's just like a hard day. Do you know what I mean? Like this is what you have after a long day. And it's this beautiful thing about bourbon, right? It's sort of when you're in a really good mood, it's amazing. But when you're in a bad mood, it's better.
Well, it was that wonderful. That's right. It was that wonderful thing as well with the Jim Beam Rye when they first brought it out. I remember it was still at 90 proof. Because all American whiskeys come to Australia, first of all, at 90 proof. Then they realize how stupidly high our excise is and dropped it down to 37 or 40. So you've seen it happen with Makers. You've seen it happen with Buffalo Trace. And Jim Beam just got onto it early and just stuck with 37 for the white label. But the rye, when it first came in, wasn't made especially for the Australian market. So It's why I've loved barrel picks Ray's done in the past with Buffalo Trace. So getting them back at 90 proof makes a huge difference.
Massively, and that's also what I loved about the Irish whiskies. 45.8%. Not that common 40%. I know that Redbreast 21 is 46, I think, from memory. But most of the Irish you get is always 40%. Going back to the start of the sesh, and that's that ABV gives it more of that personality that I'm looking for. But 61.7%, that's sanitizing, one could say.
Yeah. Dave, I've got a question for you. Do you think we'll do more boutiques in 70 CL at cask strength in the future? Is that somewhere we might consider?
Well, if you don't, Dave, then I would like to make a batch of this and then we'll just have it in Australia. So, and I'll come over and help you blend it. It's all right.
I don't know. I mean, it's not something that we've discussed for a while. I mean, boutique was never a cask strength right from the beginning. we never told you if it was cask strength or it was a single barrel when we first started up. It never was important to us. We're just, whiskey nerds. And if we mix, if we blend some 10-year-old into a 3-year-old because it just tastes a lot better that way, we would do that, which is really cool. And I love that sort of mentality that we had. And everything was bottled at a strength that we thought was perfect for drinking. And it was all about us. It's what we wanted to drink. We have bottled stuff at cask strength. And personally, some of it is just too hot for cask strength. That's my personal opinion. I used to love going to the outturns at the SMWS down in London and tasting the new outturn, and then you're sitting there with your pipette. Oh, it's a bit hot. Okay, it's a bit. Oh, okay, let's drop a little bit. Okay, that's perfect. And you finish the bloody dram and think, oh man, and I'm gonna get. Oh, now I'm gonna get that back where it was. I just like drinking whiskey. I do just love drinking whiskey, and we do. I mean, Sam and I drink whiskey more or less every day. I love drinking whiskey. I don't very rarely do I drink out of one of these at home. Whereas rockin' horse shit do I drink out of one of these downstairs? I drink out of one of these.
A schooner.
When I'm at
There,
work,
these. I'm also loving these new bourbon glasses that they got in a mix. They're like a mini rocks. I like.
It's like a tumbler. It's a tumbler, Ray.
Yeah.
I do like a
tumbler.
tumbler.
I pretty much don't drink out of tumblers nowadays. I thought
yes, all the bourbon distilleries are doing these ones. So,
I don't know how we're doing for time, but we do have a couple of quick questions. If Dave, you want to jump on and sort of throw off some 45-second answers. We have one here from Luke. If you can read that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know why moving it. I know bourbon is matured in rick houses of different floors, not hundreds of floors, but really high, and different floors present different flavors. Absolutely. I was just talking to some we've just taken on as Maverick Drinks, an American brand, about two ex-actors who have put a bourbon together, some whiskey together. Most of it's MGP, which is great. I mean, they make great whiskey. And if it wasn't for MGP, the rye that we know and love today wouldn't be around. So MGP was crucial for the rye whiskey history, and I'm a huge rye whiskey fan. But yeah, different floors, different parts of the warehouse produce different styles of whiskey. And where this came on, I don't know. They were all sort of that earthiness that I like. I'm not sure it's exposing to older wood in the barrel. When you move a barrel, you can expose the barrel to leaks that you didn't think you're going to have. The stories of moving barrels and getting that barrel into the warehouse to bottling and finding you've lost half of it because it's just been leaking in the barrel, not half of it. But there are stories like this all the time in Scotch whiskey. Moving old casks, really want to decant it there and move it in a jerry can rather than move the cask in a truck when it becomes to really old whiskey. But we wanted the first bourbon casks to use for Scotch whiskey as well. One buy it in cask, ship the cask, and we want those bourbon casks because they're expensive and more difficult to get hold of.
Yeah,
I just think it came from a particular floor in a rick house, basically, and certainly talking to someone who's been buying stuff from tasting from different floors and how different it happened, how it changes in a rick house is pretty interesting, I must admit.
Even side by side.
That's a good question.
I've tried so many barrels side by side from so many bourbon distilleries and Scotch distilleries as well, and same as a lot of you on the chat here tonight. But you can get 3 lined up side by side, and sometimes barrel picks are that. You'll get samples from 3 side by side, and sometimes they'll be very similar. Sometimes they'll be worlds apart. You can't control the wood, you can't control a lot of it, and also, as you were saying there before, Dave, the height, and it's a shame Andy wasn't there for that question because the Jack Daniel's single barrel selections, their barrel proof ones are always the higher ones up in the rick, and they say 1 in 1,000 makes it to that single barrel proof thing. So I also like when picking a single cask, it might be chosen off a different personality, which might be a bit of a coriander in the bunch that, that distillery. Oh, that's a way different flavor on that. But when it comes to a lot of the bourbon picks and single malt picks I've done, it's barrels picked off something special that they did not want to put into a vatting of what they are. And for me personally, this 11-year-old, that's where that went. I was like, all right, don't tip that into the 10-year-old. Let's have the whole barrel. So
we did.
So,
just have
certainly
another question
Stuart and I,
here.
when we tasted the cask samples.
You go, Dave.
Yeah, you go. Is Dave frozen? He's going Glengarry on us again.
It's gone Glengarry.
I lost you. Now you're all moved. Can you hear me?
You're back.
No,
My internet's around.
Well, I mean, does somebody else want to sort of touch on the makeup of our bourbon and the corn percent and how it can affect spirit?
Well, that comes down to a lot of things. You could have the same mash bill recipe in 3 different distilleries. It's not going to be the same bourbon when they run it through their stills and put it in their barrels. It comes down to how many times and how many years and everything that they've worked at it. They may change the corn by 1% or whatever to get that perfect recipe for their barrels and distilleries and warehouses. And then, which is really awesome. There's a lot of places that'll start to experiments. There's so much whiskey that we don't even see or try. And I've been through barrel houses and stuff and got to try a lot of the stuff that they've tried. Four Roses, for example. I went into the sample room and they poured me a whiskey and I've tried it and I'm going, that's not very nice. And they go, that's not good whiskey, but that is 30-year-old Four Roses. And that happens. You don't always get a win in your barrels or your recipe or everything that happens. And that's what they're at there. It's quality control. And I guess this comes down to a blend perception and everything. Simon, we did that tasting with Jack Daniel's old bottling and new bottling, and it was 35 years apart, I think, from memory.
Yeah,
it was quite old, but you could still taste that same DNA was there over all those years. Yes, they were different.
I actually think I see more consistency between bourbon whiskey than between Scotch. I think Scotch practices have changed immensely. There's obviously more cask variation. That when you look at old bottlings of Scotch, hugely different to what we see with modern Scotch whiskey, where bourbon whiskey has actually stayed more consistent, and because they've got a recipe, they've got a mash bill, and it goes into New American Oak. Although there's huge variance between those casks, they use the same casks all the time. There's a lot less variance in terms of what they're producing.
I think the corn maize has changed significantly over the years, like bourbon has, as barley has changed over the years. The barley strains in Scotch whiskey are changing almost every other year these days. The dominant grain, it's always about yield. And if you taste modern barley against barley from 30, 40 years ago, some of these late heritage grains, the difference in just chewing the malt is completely different. Like one is savory and one is like eating sugar smacks, cereal. It's so sweet. Modern Laureate and those sort of barleys are just like eating sugar snacks. There's the old Proctors and even the Maris Otter. It's so much more savory, less sweet, less yield, more flavour, and definitely Scotch has changed over the years significantly. I think I've got a much sweeter palate these days coming through the whiskey.
Yeah,
I don't think I haven't really dug into the variants of maize that's been used in American whiskey, but certainly I've got a spreadsheet on barley strains going back to ancient times, and I've been working on the same for rye corn because it's interesting to see how it changes. And Scotch whiskey definitely has changed. And when you start tasting some of these heritage distillations that some of the guys are doing, like White Peak have just done some Chevalier, which was 1890s, I think. Just chalk and cheese, just completely different.
Awesome.
How's your spreadsheet going of different maize varieties, Ray? You at that level of bourbon?
It's amazing.
I love it.
I think Simon, you're grossly overestimating Ray's technical ability, unfortunately.
I don't know if that's technically a diagnosis, but yeah, and then on that Four Roses thing, Mr. Elliott's turned over and he said, "That's not a good whiskey, and I'm not going to sell it." That's a 30-year-old Four Roses. He goes, "I could sell that for $5,000 a bottle, but it's not it's not how we want to be represented. Would the bottle be opened? Who knows? There was only X amount of bottles in there." So quality control and how they make it, and that was the same before, all those barrels of Jack Daniels goes into one vat or Jim Beam, if you like, to one vat, and it comes out and they make it taste the same every single time. And I think that is absolutely astounding. Like that's just talent at what they do. So on that, we're going to finish up and give away a bottle of 10-year-old. So I reckon Simon or Dave and or both should pick one of your favorite comments, or I don't know if there's any selfies, and we'll give some lucky bugger, Ray Daniel, a bottle of 10-year-old whiskey.
I'm going through the comments now, hence why I'm looking down.
I would like to say, while you look at the comments, there is one problem, and it does just evaporate. I only opened this yesterday, and it's just...
Oh, you did by the campfire. You sent me a photo, yeah.
Yeah, like St. Paddy's Day, I opened a bourbon, so,
It's not very patty of you, but it does have an E in the whiskey, Mark Teagues. If you don't drink any whiskey with an E in it, you don't like Irish whiskey either, just Guinness.
I think the only solution to this debate is we need to rename Scotch whiskey. Like, just remove whiskey from Scotch altogether. Just call it, like, Scotch Liberish or something,
Well, one end called it medicine.
Scotch medicine. I like it.
Medicine.
But it is very good, and it's very Moorish. So I am...
Oh, we need to do a poll on the favourite of the night, by the way.
Yep, like with us or with the viewers, or both?
Well, I reckon the viewers can just throw their 2 cents in and their pick, but we can just do like a hands up. There's only 7.
Okay.
Won't take long.
Right.
Favourites, here we go. 21-year-old. It was good.
It was very good.
Mark, you're fired. Piss off. The 22-year Bushmills.
I was going Bushmills.
Nice. You know where I'm going, don't you?
I do.
Yeah.
But, am we allowed more than one favourite?
10-year-old? Well, that doesn't make it a favourite. 10-year-old, no hands up. 11-year-old, I'm picking that. There we go. John, you picked nothing.
It's also about...
Look, I love this 11-year-old, and I thought there'd be a bit of bias if I voted. I love that 21 and the 22. They're all very good in their own way, and I think Travis nailed it. Like, voting Irish against bourbon's probably not fair. Probably should have picked
very different palettes.
Yeah,
I think what we actually managed to achieve here in this tasting is a whiskey for every different part of the day. So 21-year-old, the Irish, so blended whiskey. We're going to start off with for breakfast. We'll then graduate to the Bushmills after morning tea.
Michael's put up his lotto numbers.
There we go. There we go. Then I'll go the 10 mid-afternoon and finish with the American quite happily, the 11-year-old quite happily.
I do like the 10, but I just do like bigger whiskeys. So.
Yeah, the 10's a great all-day, right? Like I think it's fantastic. But yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed the chapter 2 because I was very happy we were very happy to make that happen for you all. So not many of those around the world. So cheers to that, everybody. And Simon, with your psychedelic shirt, what do we have? Who's the winner? Who are we giving a
So look, after I'm not sure if you've had a chance to have a look at the comments, Dave, but after looking at the comments, I think the MVP on the comments today was Luke Schaefer. So thank you for getting involved in the chat. You asked some really good questions, and you really engaged in there on the chat. I would have said Travis as well, but Travis, mate, I think we're giving you a bottle before. Please, so it's fine. But
Gotta
there's
be in
some
it for
great
the breeze.
tasting notes from Travis. So your runner-up, Travis. I've got another dram head that you can have instead of a full-size bottle as the
We'll
consolation.
get some sort
But
of.
you're not going to send that. It's just when you run into him at a show, right?
Exactly. Yes. When we see you at Whiskey Capital, I'll bring you a dram.
In saying that, also there'll be a few Wayfarers out there that I love calling you people Wayfarers. So Matt, you're going to sign up, right? I'm a strong arm.
Yeah. That's all right. You got me. Don't worry. Sorry, it's probably slipped off already.
We will
That's
fight.
fine. That's fine. No, that's fine.
And I pick a couple at random and I throw the packs in there. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Travis, that I did throw a pack in for you. So there you go. So you did get something, but we will sort you out something as well. And moving forward, we've got April next month. That's how smart I am. It's April next month. Matt, what are we doing next month?
Yeah, we're doing a society one, aren't we? We're doing some SNWS drams for next month, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
And we've got some bourbon coming in, which we've reserved for you, which is very exciting, and some other whiskies coming through.
SNWS Wayfarers collab.
Yeah.
True story.
Yeah, why not? Why
So
not? Why not?
We're going to do quite an eclectic sample tasting of SNWS. Not that eclectic, but on the lineup, a bit different.
It's so unbelievable for you, Simon. That reaction. It's like
Me and Matt are good mates. You got to make it work.
I'm trying to act like I'm surprised and didn't actually know. To be perfectly honest.
Hence why you do whiskey for a living.
But the last two of a kind, Simon. Don't forget that. It's just you and I. That's all that's left, mate. That's all that's left.
Yeah. So on the 18th, I believe, of April. 18th of April.
Yeah, 18th of April.
We're going to do a society tasting. There'll be 4 drams, one of which will be completely through us.
Yep, exclusive through you guys.
Yep, which
And
will be a bourbon.
Yeah, the other 3 will be other goodies that we've just to mix it up. Some
don't buy
new
Matt,
releases coming through.
Buy our one.
No.
So we like, mate. So we like. That's all good.
You know I do. Yeah, but I'm really looking forward to that. I've been a big fan of. So there's let's do some fanboy situation. There's two gentlemen on the chat today who, when I was started all my tastings and everything what I was doing, I was like, I'll get those boys to do a tasting with me one day, and that was Matt and Simon. There you go. Two boys in the game. I was like, one day they'll come and do a tasting with me on this and that.
Mate, we've been supporting you since day one, and we love it.
Yeah, literally 1 foot each, like this.
I know.
Which I appreciate.
Fantastic.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you everybody for coming onto the stream. Even the bourbon haters, Mr. Teague. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dave, for
thanks
a little bit of whiskey
Nick.
in your coffee this morning as well, and joining us from the UK.
Yeah, thank you, Dave. Really appreciate you tuning in. We'll see if we can sort getting you a bottle sent over, or just come to Australia.
I'd love to come. I've been down under. I never got that far. Every time I was getting ready to go down under, things changed in the world. Like the marine industry collapsed in 2008. I never got my down under trip. So every other boatyard in the world I visited, but never down under.
I feel like, Dave, we also need you to show us how to bed properly. I mean, Jarvis is almost there, but we're not quite up to your stature yet.
I've got to get. I'm still training for the mullet. I'm still training for the Australian mullet to come in. Yeah.
Well, if you get a mullet,
this is going downhill. We're talking about mullets.
Sorry.
Thank you, everybody.
Right. Thanks all.
Thank
See you
you.
soon.
I'm saying, go. Cheers.
Thanks for having me. Lovely to see you all. Good night.
Thanks, Dave.